Yes, Mr. Fisher?
Nothing, we're good, we're live. I can see it, we're live now.
Okay. So are you declaring an interest in C31?
Insofar as I will declare the fact that my property abuts that, I checked with Mel. So my property is on that map. I have no objections to it, and there is no reason for me not to vote, et cetera, et cetera. So just the fact that my property does abut it, yes.
Okay, so it's recorded. Any other declaration? If you come aware that you might have one during the process at any time, please stop the meeting and declare your interest. Now we'll go on to item 3, approval of the agenda. Do you have a resolution, Madame Melanie?
I do. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Yes. Margaret. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Roger Gagnon. Be it resolved that the agenda for the West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment meeting of May the 10th, 2021 be adopted as presented.
Everybody in favor adopting the agenda as circulated? Okay, carried. We'll go on to item 4, adoption of minute of April 12th, please.
I have a mover and a seconder, please. Yes. Denise. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Denise Senecal. Be it resolved that the minutes of the West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment meeting held on April the 12th, 2021 be adopted as presented.
Okay, everybody in favor? Carried. Okay, we have now 5A agency comments. What is this?
The agency comments is just a compilation of all of the comments on all of the different files. We're just trying to put it all in one page so that there's not hundreds of pages in your agenda.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good.
So she's just done a compilation of, if anything jumps out, I put it separately, but
because in my package I didn't see any, so that's why I'm.
No, because we were still waiting on the MTO until today, but we never did get them, so.
Okay. So then I guess we'll go on to 5B. Okay. So before we start at that level, I would like to inform all the people listening in or participating that the meeting is conducted in English mostly, but if there's some French-speaking people involved and that they want some translation or explanation in French, please say so, and we'll provide the interpretation.
Tell them to go ahead.
We want to make sure that every person concerned in these matters have the full opportunity to express themselves. The process is our planning person, Madame Ducharme, will present the application. If the applicant has a consultant, the consultant will make a brief description. Otherwise, the planner for the municipality will elaborate on it. The board members will discuss among themselves, and then I'll open it to any concerned public that have shown an interest. If you do want to participate or speak, please state your name and address, because Mrs. Ducharme will be recording it, and that is to protect your right if you ever decide to go to the tribunal on our decision we'll make tonight. Is that clear to everybody? So we'll start with C0721 application by Mr. Larrabee.
May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Sorry, I got the screen in front of my eyes. Chris and Roger. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Roger Gagnon that a consent application made by Rabbi Larrabee to create a new lot at 620 Sand Hill Road, Sturgeon Falls, legally described as part of Lot 6, Concession 1 in the Township of Springer. Through you, Mr. Chair, you'll recall we had deferred this one 2 meetings ago, and my apologies, I forgot to put it back on the last agenda. What was being proposed initially was a new lot to separate the house from the remainder of the property. The property is at the extreme west limit of the dead end Sand Hill Road. Just for, I guess, to orient yourself as to the location. So I'm going to just, the purpose is basically to create a new lot. The lot is well in excess of the minimum requirements for partial servicing, although I think he has one service, just water at that property. There's no sanitary. The lot, you'll see there's a property. I'm just going to quickly open up the, you'll just bear with me a second. I'd like to show you this share screen because there is one thing that I'd like to bring to the committee's attention. So I'm just going to share the screen here. So this property, can you see the screen?
Yes.
So the house is located right about here in the corner, okay? And this property extends all the way over to La Ronde Road, which you know is just runs parallel to Sand Hill and those streets there. So just flip it over here a little bit. So his house is right here. It's not showing in the right place, but he's looking to take out roughly this piece of the property right here. Okay, the house is actually up here in the corner. This little piece here that looks like road really isn't road. And we actually ran a water line through there so we could loop it around Cache Bay Road back in 2018 or 19. So under here, we acquired this property. For those who were on council at the time, we acquired this property, but it's not actually road. The road finishes right here. At the end here physically. So this isn't a throughway. So this house here is only accessible by the end of Sand Hill Road. And then until such time as this would be brought up to standard or anything, nothing further could be done with the rest of this property. So I'm just pointing that out. And if Mr. Goodrich has any further comments on as far as this application is concerned.
Just a quick comment that the west end of the municipally maintained road does provide access for the driveway to the house. It extends a little bit into the property, and that the retained lands will have frontage on La Ronde Road, which is an open municipally maintained road also. Other than that, large size property, lots of frontage. Yeah, that's about it. Meets the zoning.
And I guess being that size, later on, if he wants to complete the road and get it accepted by the municipality, he could redivide a couple of lots once he's got the sewer services.
That is correct.
Right. Yeah, I remember I was on council when that went through originally. So any question from the members? Any question from the audience? And we have not received any comments. So I'll call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Okay, carried. Now we'll go on to C28, please.
We have a mover in a second. Jimmy, Roger. It is moved by Senecal and seconded by Roger Gagnon that a consent application made by Jean-Guy Gingras to create a new lot on Highway 64, Sturgeon Falls, being legally described as part of Lot 5, Concession 3, described as Part 1 on Plan 36R10350 in this township of Springer in the West Nipissing municipality. For you, Mr. Chair, this property, as said in the description, is located on Highway 64. It is, let me see, am I sharing my screen here? Go back to sharing my screen. So the property is located here on Highway 64. It's currently.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is that at the top of the hill?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, because I was a bit confused. I couldn't quite figure it out because I know these family own a lot of property in that general area.
Would be right here.
Okay. So, okay, now I'm oriented.
Okay. So what is being proposed back in, I'm going to say 2004 or 5, The property that we're dealing with, this piece here was severed from the lower piece. What is being proposed now is to sever this 1 hectare piece off of the top of the property. So would be just kind of right up here north of this, this swamp. So the retained lands would be down here, you know, including the swamp and to this lower limit. And then the part coming off would be this little dry section right up here.
And Mr. Paul, is that area, the higher piece of land is sufficient to have a proper residence and septic disposal on it?
Yeah, absolutely. We have well in excess of the minimum frontage requirement, and we're in excess of the 1 hectare requirement also. So there's adequate room for residents. And you can see from that last satellite image from the swamp conditions on the east side of the road that clearly we're at the top of the hill. Once you come up Belfoy Hill, you know, flattens out up above there, and otherwise all the water would be at the bottom of the hill.
Okay, very good. Any other question or comments from the members? Hearing none, anybody from listening in from the public have any question or want clarification? Hearing none, I'll call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Carried.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I do have a question. I would like to know, I'm in the middle of Bellefeuille Hill, across
Okay.
from
Could you
Jean-Guy
please
Gingras.
state your name and address, please?
Lorraine Ricard Dupuis, 12095 Highway 64, Sturgeon Falls, P2B 2L8.
Thank you. Now, please ask your question or make your statement.
I am concerned that my ability to have further driveways on my property will be impinged by Jean-Guy Gingras' access to issue a driveway on both of his lots.
Do you have a driveway to your property right now?
I have one, and I had applied for another one at the top of the hill, and I was told I could not do it. And
This is
otherwise
Ricard's
it would have
property
been
right
done. So I'm still considering having another driveway at the top of the hill where you can see a little bit better when you get out of your driveway. And I'm concerned that this might stop me from being able to have a driveway if he's got two right across from where I am.
Oh, yeah, I understand your concerns, but this is an MTO issue, and we cannot, affect the MTO's jurisdiction. I mean, it's a control access road, and I believe they usually only grant one access per property. And like in your case, you are requesting two. If you ever decide to, split your property in two, then it would be considered at the time according to the whatever. But just because you want a second driveway, we cannot put that in our decision process tonight, because what we're dealing with the Planning Act and not MTO's jurisdiction on their property.
Can I be advised when MTO is going to be at the council?
They're not coming to the council. Our decision is
It's just for the severance.
Yeah, for tonight. And since MTO is must be in accord with the application, because we have not received any, they were advised of this proposed severance, and they have not issued us any objection or comments against that application. So that's why we're proceeding with it tonight. They had the opportunity to comment on it. Their advice of what the applicant does, they have a 2 weeks notice, and we have not received any comments from them. So based on that, we have to follow the Planning Act. If you're not satisfied with whatever decision is made tonight, I don't know how the board's going to vote. You have a process which you could contact Mrs. Ducharme tomorrow at her office, and she would explain to it. But it's a very complicated process. Okay?
I definitely understand the process, and I understand that my right is to contact the MTO.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
If you give me a call tomorrow, Madame, I will give you the lady's name at the MTO who you can contact directly to ask your questions.
I definitely will. Thank you, Madame Ducharme.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other comments or concern from the audience? Hearing none, I will call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as circulated? Carried. Now we'll go on to C29.
Move in a seconder, please.
Pardon me?
I'm over in a seconder, didn't you?
Sure, Mel.
Right? Yeah, I keep forgetting you, you're small. It is moved by Denise Senecal and seconded by Fern Pellerin that a consent application made by Danielle and Richard Lemieux to create a new lot at 343 Duck Creek Road in Monettville in property described as part of Lot 5, Concession 5, being Part 2 on Plan 36R14362 in the Township of Loudon. Through you, Mr. Chair, as indicated on the description, what happened here was I'm going to say just a miscommunication. And what happened this was applied for. 2 lots were applied for on this property, on this lower part of the property, by Mr. and Mrs. Lemieux, and they got it all surveyed. And the lawyers didn't send a deed for this Part 2, so it never got transferred. And it was only upon entering a sale agreement that it came to his attention that the lawyers never registered this lot. So because it had lapsed, he had to come back and reapply.
Oh,
So we're here tonight to reapprove this lot that was previously approved back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all.
Okay, so I think that's a straightforward. We have had issues like that in the past. And so if there's any other comments, hearing none, I'll call it to a vote. Everybody in favor of approving the reapplication? Carried. Now we'll go on to C30. Mr. Borjenska.
Move in a seconder, please. Roger? Yes. It is moved by Roger Gagnon and seconded by Chris Fisher that a consent application made by Mihailo Bojanska to create 2 new lots at property located at 889 Piquet Road in Verner, being described as part of the east half of Lot 7 in Concession 3 in the Township of Kirkpatrick. Through you, Mr. Chair, what is being proposed here is to create 2 new lots. You'll see that, the consultant has included in his submission, along with the sketch, he had completed an MDS calculation based on the proximity of there's a barn, I believe, on the opposite side of the street.
Right on
So
the south
this is the
side.
property here, and there's a barn here.
Mhm.
And this is the first lot, and this is the second lot. So what he's done is he's done an MDS calculation, which I will get him to elaborate on. I'm assuming that the shape of this lot is to follow the outline of the rock, or just to aggravate the chair. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, Mr. No, I did visit the site, Mr. Goodrich, and my God, you've put in a lot of curves there.
Across the road.
Well, what we're trying to do, Mr. Chair, is follow the existing road along the south and the southeast portion. And then once we get up onto the site itself, you can see Madame Bohanska's driveway into her property. and we didn't want to impact on that either. So we've made the lot configuration match what is actually physically there on the ground. Wherever possible, we've tried to straighten out the lines like along the north boundary, but we also had to extend it far enough to be outside of the reach of the MDS radius from the existing barn on the westerly property, right where Madame Ducharme is showing the little cursor. So
Yeah.
we
Okay,
calculated.
the farm operation or barn that is on the west side, on the same side of the road, I don't think has any effect on that parcel because I don't think there's any activities inside that building right now. Right?
No, it's all cash cropped right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we always try to err on the side of safety just in case the next farmer decides to have a livestock operation.
Mm-hmm.
And just to make the committee aware too, the intended purchaser of that lot in the southwest is Monsieur Gilles Piquet, who owned the farm to the west originally.
Right.
Mostly he's looking at a spot. He currently is lucky enough to be able to winter somewhere a little warmer than what we have up here in Ontario. But he's looking for a spot to live during the summer months and also to be able to have a garage storage shed for some of his equipment farm equipment that he still owns. So that's the reason for the severance of that lot.
Yeah, and that property that he's severing is fairly large, so he can move up further north on that lot, and he would have good distance separation.
Exactly, and it also gives him a little bit of the field area just outside of the rock, where it would be easier to, if he wanted to in the future, build a home and have a septic field bed.
Yeah, you would have enough area to be out of the rock formation.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah,
Paul?
Yes.
Just while we're speaking, and Mrs. Bojanska owns this as well, correct?
That is correct.
This is a bonus lot?
That is a bone. Wow, that's a naturally severed lot.
Okay, we got to do something about the guy who laid out this road. It's a tricky spot.
It certainly is.
Because I was going to say, depending on, but this person here has access to the actual traveled road, because I was going to suggest that if this were to be landlocking this person, but I see they've got enough space to get out. Their driveway touches the actual road, so
right,
shouldn't be a problem. So
and then and once we do the survey of the lands, if we notice something like that, where just because these satellite images don't always reflect exactly where the property boundary lines are. So if that becomes an issue, our guys will create a second part on that so that it could be transferred to the neighbor to make sure that they have access.
Okay.
Yeah, because you'll have to survey the road there all the way across there, those two curves and wiggling that it does there.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I know. I spent almost an hour there looking at that property on Saturday. So
it's a good road.
Yeah. So any other question or comments from the members?
I got a question, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Just Paul, I'm just out of curiosity. For the MDS, like it's not like it's zone rural, and those barns have been there forever, and it's not used anymore for that purpose. Is there an amount of time that you know?
Oh, I wish there was, but right now not that I know of. So,
Okay.
like I say, just to err on the side of caution, we know they're not being used for livestock housing at this point in time. but we run it through the MDS calculations, just so that if a future owner decided to, have a livestock operation, that we wouldn't have an impact. Now, if the farmer and the MDS calculation we did was for the land development, but if a farmer were to then come in and want to change his operation from cash cropping to livestock, they run through a different calculation, a different MDS, and it's typically just a little more. It's typically about 55% of the distance that the developers have to keep. So for example, where it's 218 meters from the barn to the west, if a farmer was to decide he wanted to change to a livestock operation, and this was already a created lot, so in the future, the setback distance that would have to be maintained there would probably be somewhere around 125, 130 meters, as opposed to the 218.
Okay.
So it's far less restrictive on the farmers, because the whole intent of the MDS is to protect the agricultural potential of the lands.
All right, thank you.
And through you, Mr. Chair, just to elaborate on Fern's question, is both Alain and I are required to request the MDS calculation, both for the severance under our zoning bylaw and Alain under the building code. We have to have it in order to approve it. We have to take the potential that the barn could be used.
Okay.
Until it falls down, we have to keep dealing with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, any other question?
Hi,
Yes.
my name is Sharon Pacheco and I'm 902 Piquet Road.
Mhm.
And I just want to clarify, is the lot that's been severed, proposed to be severed, does it go on both sides of the road?
Yes.
So
Well,
the first,
Mr. Goodrid explain it to you.
I was going to say the lots that are being severed, the two severed lots, the one in the southwest corner is only on the north side of the road. The one that is labeled severed 1, which is up against the east boundary. Once again, that lot, no, the one up there, yep.
Yeah.
Right there where the little hand is right now.
okay,
That is only on the north side of the road. There is a naturally severed lot south of the road, but that is a totally separate lot from the other two.
okay.
But I'm Frank on 902 Piquet Road.
Mhm.
Is the lot that's naturally severed on the south side of the road, that comes up against our property, is that actually a lot that Mihaela could sell and somebody could build a house on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they would still have to go through the separation, because you do have cattle on your property, right?
Yes.
So to get a building permit, whoever acquired that property would have to go through the whole calculation, depending on the size of your livestock, the size of your barn, and the whole thing. So it's not a guaranteed result.
Right.
But that won't be coming to our committee, because it's what they call a natural severance. So all they have to go is see a lawyer, and it can get transferred without coming to the municipality's approval.
Oh, okay, okay. That clarifies, that was, I was unclear about that. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question? Okay, hearing none, I guess I'll be, and none other from the public or the people listening in? Okay, then I'll be calling it to a vote. Everybody in favor as circulated? Carried. Now we'll go on to C31, please.
It is moved, I need to move in a second. Chris,
Sure, Mel.
Fern. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Fern Penney that a consent application made by Danielle and Linda Leduc, I think it's Daniel and Linda Leduc, to create a new lot at 185 Leduc Road and Field, being part of the north half of Lot 7, Concession 6 in the township of Badge Road. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll just get up my handy dandy screen here for a second. Go to the next application. So we are now going over to Leduc Road. This is the property that is owned by Daniel and Linda Leduc. What is being proposed is to sever a lot off of the bottom, about a 6-hectare lot, having about 85 meters of frontage by the full depth of the property, which is half a mile. Half a mile? Yes. So that is what's being proposed. The lot has municipal road frontage as well in excess of the required minimums for a rural residential lot. And that is all I have. We did receive one letter, which was included in your package. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of details in the letter that was provided to you, and I provided all the members of the committee with that. So I will have Mr. Goodrich, if he has any further comments.
Yeah, on that, on that letter, Mrs. Ducharme, I don't know if the people that signing that letter, if they did contact your office for a detail, but I'm get the feeling they don't know they don't understand the process. Or am I wrong there? Because the way they've written it, they're not mentioning any planning issue with their thing, and then the way they're saying, they said, well, we realize they can go to the tribunal, but you would think that they would, if they had an objection, they would present it to us where it doesn't cost them anything than trying to go through the tribunal.
I don't know if perhaps, I know Mr. Goodrich has been speaking with the applicants today, and look at that, Mr. Don. I think they have been speaking with the applicant today and may be able to shed a little more light on the issue. If any.
Certainly. What we have is it is actually Danielle Leduc's parents, Yvonne and Vivienne Leduc. They own the farm on the west side of the road, or immediately west of this property. Danielle's brother owns the land on the south half of the lot, whereas Danielle and Linda own the land north of the lot. Monsieur Yvonne, well, on this picture, it shows very clearly, Danielle and Linda own the house on the east side of the road, right where the little hand is. Yvonne and Vivienne Leduc own the house on the west side. And I'm sorry, I just forget Danielle's brother's name, but they own the house. He and his wife own the house on the where the little hand is now, south of the half lot line. There was some concern that this severance was going to cross onto the other side of the road. There's a little triangular portion right there where the hand is. And depending on where these lot lines actually fall, that could have some impact on the parents' driveway and location of their property. I spoke with my clients. They've authorized me to create an additional part on our survey plan so that if there is any issue with access to their parents' lot, that triangle would be transferred to Yvonne and Vivienne Leduc in order to clear that up.
Okay, now that makes it clear to me there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I did visit the property and I was wondering where this concern was rising and I couldn't figure it out. But now when you talk about the triangle, it makes everything clear to me.
Well, and to be honest too, I think some of the concerns and my partner Don also spoke with the elder Leducs today, and I think it's also just that this was family lands forever, and And now with the new severance, there may be some new people moving in. But there is a purchaser. They want to use the land for a rural use. So, and as Ms. Ducharme has said, it greatly exceeds the minimum frontage requirement, greatly exceeds the area requirement. It's approximately 15 acres of land.
Yeah, and there's a large area to, there's like extra land to build a proper house and feed bed and everything, because there's a nice field there with the grass all cut and everything. So there's plenty of room there.
Yes.
Any question or comments from the auditor? Yes, Don. I don't hear you.
You're on mute, Don.
Oh, I'm unmuting it. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's on the line right now. I don't know who Galaxy S20 is. Mr. Leduc was supposed to call in. He wanted to voice his opinion. And I guess Galaxy S20 isn't. Does anybody see what I'm talking about? The guy on the phone that's...
Hi, it's Linda and Danielle Leduc that has the S20 Galaxy.
There you go. Okay, thanks. So I had a lengthy conversation with Mr. Leduc. He's just concerned about where the property's going. I think it's more of a family thing that they need to discuss.
Okay, so it like I don't think it is it's not part of the planning process to get involved into family discussions. So we have to stick with the act, right? So is there anybody else that got concern or comments to make on this application? Hearing none, I will call it to a vote. Everybody in favor as presented? Carried. Thank you, Don, for your explanation. And now we'll go on to C32.
I'll move in a second, please. Yes. I will. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Roger Gagnon that a consent application made by David Newenhouse to create 3 lots on Douglas Road in North Minettville on property legally described as the north half of Lot 12 and Section 6 in the Township of Faulkner in the District of Nipissing. Mr. Chair, property is located at the south limit of the West Nipissing municipality, almost before you run out and into Noelville. You'll see Douglas Road is it's a pretty short road. In fact, it appears to only go to the end of the applicant's property, but in fact, it is a municipally maintained road. What he is proposing to do is to create 3 lots, all of which are in excess of the minimum requirements under our bylaw, 3 rural residential lots. Been no concerns by any neighbors, nor any concerns indicated by any of the agencies circulated. And this is just about the best severance sketch I've received in quite some time. We told this gentleman that he was a very good applicant. No offense, Paul.
We'll hire him.
I think I would like to ask him, maybe, I think with Don is usually the one that goes and visit those sites, or is it Paul?
Well, this one's actually a private application.
Oh, okay, because I just wanted, like, I visited the site and you see there's a detached property on the corner.
Yeah.
Then there's an open space and that is under cultivation. It's part of a farm operation. There was nice oats coming up there. And then I think it's the municipality or the landowner. He's cut all the, some brushing over the ditch and it's nice and clean there for, it seemed about the distance that we see the 3 lots. So I guess that's where the 3 lots would be located.
Well, the applicant is on the line if you want to direct your questions to him, Mr. Chair.
Could you please,
Mr. Chair.
the applicant, could please confirm what I've just said?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Hi, how are you?
yes.
So that is the correct location. And that was Hydro that
Did all
cleaned
that
up
brushing?
the brushing. They did a fantastic job.
And because
Yeah, I'm going to maintain that now.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
visit that, and I was kind of impressed there how clean looking it was, and that there's a few
Me too.
spots where the land is a bit soggy there, but these lots are big enough, I think, to address all those issues, right?
Correct. And then this is the last week or 2 weeks has been about as wet as it's been all spring. That's
Mhm.
that's as bad as it gets.
Because I noticed that you had a few Canada geese that were visiting your farm there.
Correct. Yeah, they come every year. Yeah.
Okay, any question from the board members or comments? If hearing none, would the owner have additional comments to make on this application?
No, I don't believe so, sir.
Okay, so I guess hearing none, I'll call this to a vote. Everyone in favor as presented? Carried. Okay, you'll get in touch with
Thank you.
Mrs. Ducharme. She'll explain the process from now on.
Thank you. And I didn't know
You're welcome.
Mr. Goodrich was available. So next time.
Not a
Okay,
Thank you
problem.
all.
You save
And,
money,
merci,
you save
madame.
money this way.
Yeah,
Big money.
merci, Madame Duchesne. The planning was very organized and efficient. So much
Thank you very
thanks.
much.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess we'll go on to MV 2021. That's a minor variance.
Yes, indeed. May I have a mover and a seconder? Roger? Chris? It is moved by Roger Gagnon and seconded by Chris Fisher that a minor variance application made by Samuel Kolonischenko for property located, described as summer resort location being part of broken lot 10 and concession 2 in the township of Loudon, physically known as 551 Lemire Road in Minettville. The purpose and effect of this application is to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 18 meters to 8 meters, 8.5 meters, for the voluntary reconstruction of the cottage. Through you, Mr. Chair, as you'll see from my summary, I am not recommending this particular application, given the fact that I believe that there's ample room to comply, notwithstanding the rock outcropping, I guess, on the west side of the property. There still seems to be an awful lot of room on this property where the owner could comply with the bylaw in order to this is the property here, in order to relocate this cottage. There's space here and there's oodles of space. And I understand with waterfront property, you want to enjoy the waterfront. However, our bylaw does indicate that if a landowner can comply on a voluntary reconstruction, that they should comply. This is the aerial, got in as close as we could to see the property and see where the cottage is located. And you'll see it's located just up here in this little bit of cleared area. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any better resolution any closer than that, but for visual, Mr. Goodrich's office has provided a indication. This, in fact, here, this is the 18-meter setback line, this broken line here. So this is where the normal setback would be for this cottage. And this is what is being requested here at the 8.5-meter line. So as I've indicated, I'm not recommending it. I don't believe it meets the intent of our bylaw or the official plan. However, I'm sure that the applicant's agents will have some comments.
Okay, I did visit the site. I looked at it carefully, and I do agree with our planning municipal planner that there's room to set this building without encroaching. Like if it was only a meter or meter and a half over the line, that I could consider a minor variance, but it's almost the full building. And when you're on the site, you're about, well, there's two sets of stairs to go down to the water level. So the view over the water is fantastic there. Like there's no obstruction in front. The picture that you have from Google doesn't pay it full value. And I don't like it does show here on the plan that there's a bit of a rock outcrop, but the building, if I think it still can be backed up and clear that, or it could be oriented the other way at the back of the existing one, because I believe the existing one will be removed anyway. And there, the ground is nice and level. It's all on gravel. So it would be easy to construct a nice building there and meet, even if, like, and say, if he was coming back with a 1 meter, 1.5 meter encroachment, that's a minor variance. A full building, that's, I cannot consider that myself a minor variance. I have a big problem with that. Maybe Mr. Goodrich would like to elaborate on what I've just said there, but right now that's my position. Paul, it's all
Absolutely.
yours.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is one of those rare examples where Melanie and I, of course, are going to agree to disagree on the interpretation of the bylaw and the official plan. First of all, though, I'd like to sort of contradict the term voluntary replacement of the cottage. Right now, the existing cottage is not long for this world. It's built on piles of rocks. The sill logs are rotting to the point where it really isn't suitable for human habitation. They do still spend the odd night there, but it is getting to the point of being unsafe, and the cottage does need to be replaced. There is an existing septic system, if that's what you want to call it. The neighbor to the east, when Mr. Kolesnichenko first bought the property, came over to tell him that at least part of the field bed was on his property. Now, there's a lot of bush in the area, so we're not really sure exactly where the existing field bed is, but Mr. Kolesnichenko knows that instead of a proper septic tank, there's an old steel drum, or it's more rectangular in size, more like a cube than a drum, I guess, but it's directly underneath the existing cottage. And then there's a drain pipe running out from that. So building right over top of the existing structure is not ideal. Mr. Kolesnichenko is planning on putting in a brand new septic bed with a proper septic tank. It will probably go behind where the proposed cottage is now and just back of where we show the rock outcrop between that and Lemieux, what is labeled as Lemieux Road, but it's really a private road. It's basically a driveway to each of these properties. Everyone uses it for access out to the municipally maintained road. So, and also, even though it is just a driveway, there isn't a lot of room between the gravel road and the 18-meter setback. The opening that you see on the Google Earth image right there where the little hand is right now is actually the hydro line on the property. So yeah, you can see there's not a lot of room between the hydro line and the rear property. There's also not a lot of room between the hydro line and the driveways crossing the traveled road crossing the properties. So we are somewhat constrained. Technically, we can rebuild as a renovation the existing cottage and put it exactly in the same location. Mr. Kolesnichenko is trying to do the right thing. You'll notice we've tilted it back, tried to take as much of it as we possibly can out of the encroachment area. And he hopes to replace that old septic bed, decommission it, and install a new bed that will be far more beneficial to the lake. The deck at the front, you'll notice, whereas the entire deck and porch of the existing cottage was built within that 8.5-meter setback, which is just to the actual physical corners of the cottage, whereas now the deck that's being proposed is more than halfway further back than what the original one was. So we're increasing the size of the cottage by only 4 square meters, less than 4 square meters. The bylaw does allow you to increase the existing size by up to, I believe it's 25%. The existing cottage right now is 71 meters. So 25% of 71 would, I'm not sure, it's roughly around 18 square meters. And we're looking at an increase of less than 4 square meters. So the bylaw states that we have to conform to as close as possible to the setbacks. We're moving it further to the west as far as we can, right up to the edge of that rock outcrop, to provide a little additional privacy space between the existing cottage and the neighboring cottage to the east. There's a 3-meter setback in the shoreline residential. The existing cottage is slightly in excess of the 3 meters, but we're planning on greatly increasing that size from the minimum of 3 to 10.5 meters to the new building. So even though that yes, technically there are areas where we could, in order to maintain the view, Mr. Kolesnichenko could simply replace the existing cottage exactly on the same footprint. In fact, increase that footprint by an additional 18 meters and really meet the bylaw requirements. Because we are voluntarily replacing it at this point before it falls down, that's why we need the minor variance. I don't think it's an unreasonable request. We're trying our best to conform as closely as possible as we can. We've taken a bad situation. We've made it very much better with the proposal that's before the committee, and we hope you'll support it here tonight. Anyone has any questions?
Tell me, why is he on an angle like that? It could not be more square with, why are you proposing the sharp angle that he proposed new building with that?
Well, number one, it gets more of the cabin back from where the original cabin was. Like I say, we're trying to move it as far back, but mainly it also provides a nicer view out over the bigger portion of the water that's in front of the cabin.
Because I did look at the waterfront and I couldn't see whether you're looking straight ahead or a bit of an angle. Didn't seem to change very much.
It's Sam's wife that wants it that way.
Okay.
Although there's a very good reason then.
But okay, there's some chapter I don't know by heart in the Planning Act, but I don't remember seeing something where you have to give extra point for the wife one in a certain way. I don't think we can take that in consideration, Paul.
Norm, we're gonna give you your phone number.
Hey?
We're gonna give her your phone number.
I believe it's in section 71.2/C, where it states that the wife's opinion trumps everything.
Oh, okay then. Thank you for the clarification, Paul.
No problem. It's in there. Look it up tomorrow.
Am I unmuted, say Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair,
Yes,
this is John Harrington, the neighbor to the east.
yes.
We did send in a letter outlining our pretty clear points. Not getting involved with the actual discussion that just took place. You know, our main concerns, I think, are the points that we brought up, which is based on really even the current location of the cabin that's there right now. And that is going forward, whatever is approved, that both the basic non-septic, say sink, shower, water, along with septic is addressed so that it in no way impacts our property line as it is currently doing.
You have your own septic system on your property?
Yeah, we have holding tanks, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, okay, your concern is going to be recorded by Mrs. Ducharme, so whenever, depending on what transpired tonight, if it's approved as is or with modification or whatever, is at the time, if there's ever a building permit issue, this will be brought up that they have to meet the new whatever requirement the Mattawa Conservation Authority has or requires, and that
Okay.
it'd be to code at the time of application.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I just,
Do you have
you know,
any other concern you would like us to know?
yeah, yes. Just the fact that whatever construction takes place, a new building, replacement as it stands now, or this new suggested one, as spoken, and if you've been back there, you know that that's a very narrow access only private road.
Right.
And the road goes right through our property so that the people on the point, our neighbors on the point, can access their cottage.
Right.
But on both sides of that very narrow road is all our property. And, you know, our concern is when a new building of that size were to be constructed, we would like to make sure that it is stated that the construction people will not use the road further down and encroach upon our property, either parking vehicles, turning around, or anything, because that's basically coming onto our property.
Yeah, they would have, like, this property does own on both sides of the road within their property line, right?
Yes.
Right, as we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And from the Google view that we saw a while ago, I think the boundary line were a bit out of focus with the actual, like, they should
Be lower.
they should be lower, and the bottom black line you see should be where the end is right now. That's where the pole line is, right?
Yes.
Right.
So I got this right there. So,
And-
but there's room on that person's property to add a lumber truck or whatever goes there, or cement.
Let's hope so.
We agree with you, but we just wanted to, you know, bring that up because it's very easy at times to just take the easy one.
and croak
the
on the
easy-
neighbor, yeah.
This is.
But
the
I
May
think
may I just say something, Mr.
concern.
Chair?
That's the financial concern.
Mr.
Pardon?
Chair? Mr.
is
Chair,
there- Yes,
I just wanted to note that, do you live on the east or the west, Mr. and Mrs. Harrington?
East side,
You live on the east side?
further down, yes,
Okay,
further down.
so the problem, do you have an agreement amongst landowners down there for the road maintenance, or is it just kind of a?
No.
a gentleman's
formal
agreement.
Nothing, eh? Yeah,
So-
unfortunately, I'll just, the municipality doesn't have much of a role to play when it comes to rights of way because they are private. We don't regulate what goes on private roads. Once you leave the municipal road, it's kind of beyond our jurisdiction. So I just, you know, should
Oh.
something arise, we wouldn't be able to address it because that would be a civil matter between yourself and your neighbors, unfortunately. Like I said, private roads are outside of the municipality's area of expertise.
Yeah, can I make a $5 suggestion to your parking issue?
Sure.
Just acquire 2 little sign that says private. And put it on the boundary line, right at beside on each side of the road. So anybody
They're already
that-
there.
They're
They're
already
already
there.
Okay,
Yes.
so then anybody should know that beyond that point, they are on somebody else's property.
The other thing that we would share with you is we are supported by our neighbor to the far east, which is on the point, the furthest cottage on the point. And they are completely agreeable that just during the construction time, so that we do not have to really have any confrontation, because we don't want any of that nature, is to literally put some kind of barrier from the starting point of, say, our property on the private drive. And we would just, you know.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like Mrs. Ducharme just explained to you, it's a private road.
Yep.
So
You can put it up.
whatever means you want to protect your property, we're not involved in that. It won't be
Okay.
part of the decision. We appreciate the information and your concern. They are noted, but there's nothing we can do about them because it's private property beside the application. What
Right.
we would, what we'll have to take issue with, if you had other concern, like if the field bed was flowing on your property, or if our decision would give you nightmares of some sort, whatever, you know. But beside that, we're not involved. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Just
Again,
want to make sure that we're clear that there's no misunderstanding between us and the adjoining property owners.
You've made it very clear, and we just wanted to log in our letter that we sent as far as our concerns that would in fact be on record.
Okay, because I guess it's at the office yet, because I haven't received a copy yet, but I guess the mail is not always fast.
No, it's an email. It would have come from the States. We are in the States, so.
It was actually included in the material that came in late from Tanya this afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So any other question or comment from the members? Yes, Mr. Fisher.
So just quickly, because I see the two sides to this story. So in order for this to qualify for a minor variance, because I do see that that's not very minor, what would we be pushing that back? So like there's like a 4-meter overhang, and then it would be a minor variance, or is there a compromise that we can reach on this?
Well, personally, if at least half of the building was over the line, I would start to get more comfortable with the minor interpretation of it, because we're starting with one that is completely over the past the line.
Oh, you can put it
So,
back.
you know, if he was to back it up another 4 or 5 meters, I would be a lot more comfortable.
So can I?
One thing, Mr. Goodrich, do you think it's feasible? Would you like to have some time that to discuss it with with the applicant?
If I could call him now, and I think he's listening in on the YouTube channel. But if you could give me a 2-minute recess, I'll put my phone on mute or my screen here on mute, and just give Mr. Kolesnichenko a call.
Yeah, because if we could resolve that tonight, that would be, I guess, to everybody's advantage. Are the members comfortable with that? That we take maybe a 4 or 5 minute recess for Mr. Goodrich to clarify the situation with the applicant? Okay, so we'll recess for 5 minutes, Paul, okay?
Okay, thank you. Excuse me, though, just before we go, this is just directed to the Harringtons. Are you going to stay on the call until we come back?
Yes, we will.
Perfect, because I was just going to address a couple of your concerns as well with the chair's indulgence.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Bear in mind, we're still live on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to put yourselves on mute for a minute, or
no problem.
your screen.
I'll try and be quiet.
I'm just warning you in case they don't want you to get rowdy.
I told him to put the phone back on. I warned him this was going to happen.
Anybody else having problems with their video tonight? Or just me?
You're coming in very slow, like you're in slow mode. I think you're losing your.
Oh yeah, well I know
and your face is kind of wavy there.
We saw that.
So you might, anyways, if you lose me, you lose me. Yeah, it's not an issue.
Oh, now you're clear.
I'm
you come
clear.
and
Yeah,
go.
I don't know. Maybe people are not maybe on mute or something. I don't know. Comes and goes. So
Are you on your phone, Roger?
Pardon me?
Are you on your phone?
Nope, I'm on a tablet.
Okay, because you're very
Very narrow, eh?
You're
very
narrow.
narrow
I
on
try
the
to,
screen.
I want to try to look thinner.
Oh, so we all.
doesn't work.
No.
Paul.
And Fern is hiding away at the back of the building there.
Well, I
You
don't
should have
know.
your camera a bit closer to you.
I don't know
We
how
would
to
see you
zoom in.
better.
I don't know how to zoom in.
Is the camera across the road to you?
You're on video.
No, actually, the camera's just at the other side of the room. That room looks way bigger than it really is. That's the
I
room
think
that
we
used
could
to be
have the
my
whole
office.
committee in that room and be 8 feet apart.
Yeah.
They're all laughing.
You
And
must
is
be at
Don very
home, Don,
busy?
because I can't hear Paul talking in the background.
Is Don very busy now?
Wait.
Wait.
You're also on mute, Don. You can just see your lips.
There, no, very busy. It's unreal.
We were talking, all of us, this is an unprecedented, like, we've not seen workloads or call volumes or activity like this in a decade. It's absolutely bananas, the way land is moving and people are buying and selling land like it was, I was gonna say like they're not making any more of it, which they aren't, but it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The phone rings off the wall all day long. People buying land that I've been sitting for sale for years and years, and all of a sudden, poof, it's like, it's just nuts.
And buying where is as is.
Yeah, buying stuff that, you try on the phone to explain to them what the realities of the property are, and they don't care.
No.
They're getting out of the city, and that's it, that's all.
Township of Pedley on the highway there.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's how long they've been. They're phoning and asking when the services are going to be in.
Yeah, yes, I had a guy call me from just between, I guess just between the Chesters and Riding Stable Road, and he wanted to know when we were bringing the water and sewer there. And I told him not ever. And he told me that we weren't very development friendly. I said, sir, do you know how far that is from the town? Well, no. I said, it's far, sir. Said, no, we can't take the water and sewer there. If we could, you couldn't afford to pay for it.
Well, we were hoping that this meeting would allow us to have permission to come up to our place.
Oh, yeah, no.
So Zoom, stop that.
Zoom's as close as you're going to get to your cottage for a while.
Do you think the summer?
You're in the States?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a helicopter?
Yeah, you can jump over the
Just
boundary.
drop in. It's the only way.
Do you think it will be for the summer? Do you think this is going to last for the summer?
Don't know.
No, no. We thought it was going to last till Easter 2020, and here we are.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll depend on what happens. We've still got an awful high caseload in some of the more urban areas. We're not here in West Nipissing in Northern Ontario. It's pretty low key, but the problem is if you open up this, then everybody from there comes here.
Sure.
So that's, I think, the intent is to keep everybody in place until things settle down.
Yeah, the same thing in the States. I mean, Michigan is just, we're in Illinois. Michigan is, their numbers are crazy high. So
the more densely populated the area, the more the more transmission there's, and it's not unlikely because everybody's tired. Everybody's sick of rules, and everybody's tired of being in their house and not getting a haircut, and just everybody's tired. And, you know, I see like out west they got a lot more problems out west. There's such a lot of kerfuffle in the Alberta, where they've got, you know, open defiance of, you know, they're not about the rules out there.
So we have Paul.
Oh, indeed, we're back.
Unmute.
Everyone else is back too. Look at that.
Okay. So what's the good news?
Well,
Uh-oh.
well, what Sam would like, he does like the view from there, and the way it is, I guess the option for Sam is either move further back away from the lake, or simply just withdraw the severance or the minor variance application and rebuild on the exact same footprint, which he is permitted to do. So
He's permitted to enlarge. He's not permitted to rebuild.
well, he's permitted to renovate it, to rebuild the structure, and replace the structure, because right now it is to a situation where it probably wouldn't pass an examination. The sill logs are rotted, so it is only a matter of time. So typically with being able to rebuild, if there's a catastrophic failure of it, then you can rebuild in the same locations. And in fact, you're allowed to increase your size by as much as 25%. So I still think the proposal is a good proposal. It basically, you know, he has certain rights with the cottage where it is right now, legal non-conforming rights to keeping it where it is. But he does recognize he wants to move it back. He wants to move it further to the west to give more separation between, you know, the new cottage and the Harringtons property. He did speak with the Harringtons about the septic. He does have someone coming in next week to advise him on the new location. Right now, it appears that it'll be almost in the center of the property where the new location for the septic is. It'll be directly south of where it says rock outcrop, but closer to the driveway through the property. So it'll be fair to both the Harringtons on the east and the neighbors to the west, just north of where the little hand is now, Melanie. Come to the south a bit and to the west. Yeah, somewhere and a little bit further west. So that's where the new field bed would be located, would be in that location, which will
under the power line.
Well, it'll be east of the power line, north of the roadway, and south of the bedrock. So right in where the hand was there a second ago, right in that area. And that clearly makes a good separation between the field bed and the Harringtons property, but also gives lots of separation also for the neighbor to the west. Now, on the Harringtons' other issue of privacy on the road, there is legislation in the province called the Road Access Act. And with these private roads, only the people that have legal rights to the road have the right to cross on the property. Everyone else would be considered a trespasser. So in your particular situation, the only person that has a legal right to be on your property is your neighbor to the east. No one else to the west, even though it's all the same road, you only have the right to go on the road up to your own property. You don't have the right to go any further. So that there's no issue if you want to provide a blockade at that location during construction. You're well within your rights to do so, as long as the neighbor to the east, you know, can move it and get through to his property. I spoke with Sam as well. He will make sure that there is a spot for the construction vehicles to park and also to turn around on his own property. And he intends to be there. I guess he's working as his own general contractor. He does build homes as well himself. So he will be on site during the construction, and he'll make his workers aware that everyone stays on on his own property and respects your privacy.
Can I just say one thing? Sam is absolutely right. That cottage, I don't know how they can risk going into it because it is about to fall. You're absolutely right about the vulnerability of that structure.
Yeah.
Monsieur
Thank you.
Roberge?
Oui.
Monsieur Roberge.
Oui.
I don't have an issue with this application for the fact that the cottage is already there. They're moving, they're not increasing, they're not going closer to the water. They're increasing the distance from the neighbor. And it gives them, if they move it back any further, they're gonna have probably a bigger problem to put the septic. So the way it's set up now, it's nice and even for them to put the septic. No, I don't have a problem. It's just for the fact that the cottage already exists and they can replace it where it is now. So I don't see the problem. Thank you.
Any other comments from any of the members? Yes, Roger?
I agree with Fern. I had the exact same sentiment because trying to keep everybody happy on this situation, I think I would be ready to acknowledge that the minor variance should be the best thing to do.
Okay, any further comments? Oui, Denis?
Well, excuse me. My only issue is I don't mind it, but I'm just worried about future precedents. Are we creating something? Mr. Rabel would know that, I guess.
Not that I know of. In a minor, in these type of application, everyone has to make it on its own merit, because I've yet in the past 20 years, I've yet to see two that will be exactly the same. Sometimes they might look the same, but there's always a certain variable, either a pile of rock or this or a water course or hydro line or a curve in the road. There seem to be, because this is a minor variance application, so it's because there's a problem with the property that we're trying to accommodate the landowner and but alleviate the situation. That clears that up for you, Dennis?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and with that, I can say that I would support this application.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far from what I hear, I guess I'm at a point of calling to a vote. So everybody in favor as presented? 1, 2, 3, carried. So I think that is the last application, yeah, for tonight. So we need an adjournment, I think, eh?
We do indeed.
Next meeting?
June 14th, anybody?
Oh, June. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so that will be noted. Oui, Madame Melanie.
I do. Chris? And seconder, Roger. It is moved by Chris Fisher and seconded by Roger Gagnon. Be it resolved that the West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment meeting be adjourned to June 14th, 2021.
Everybody in favor? Carried. Have a good evening and see you in a month.
And the sun's still shining.
Pardon me?
And the sun's still shining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're an efficient committee.
We are. Night.
Yep. The other benefit is that apparently it rained in Sudbury all day.
Really? It's lovely here.
I know. God loves us better than them.
Yeah, they can keep it.